In this episode of reDefine, we talk with the very funny Paula Poundstone, one of the top 100 comedians of all time. Paula joins us from her home in Los Angeles to share why being a stand-up comic is pretty much the same as being any other creative. You can get exhausted looking at your competition instead of focusing on your own work. Paula also shares why, after her diagnosis of OCD, she realized it was nearly impossible to corral her own self, which led straight to her very successful and wildly unique creative style.
Special thanks to our sponsors Adorama, the photography people, and T1 Line, the voice and data solution experts.
Thank you, Paula, for joining us today on reDefine.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
I would love to talk to you about like 8 million things. Haven't seen so much of your stand-up and wait, don't tell me. Just like brilliant, stable pieces of society. But I want to start out just right out of the gate talking about the fact that you have been doing stand-up since you were 19, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what is the magic recipe to sustaining such fresh creativity? Go, all you.
Part of it is probably just loving doing it, and I really, really do. And what's not to love, after all? But the way I work is kind of very organic. I have jokes, and they're largely autobiographical in nature, and I happen to be a person who I try, anyways, to keep up with what's going on in the world. So there's a certain, stream of that goes through. But the other thing is, my favorite part of the night is I talk to the audience. I do the time-honored, where are you from, what do you do for a living? And in this way, little biographies kind of emerge, and I weave everything through that. And so it, by its very nature, every night is different. And every night is not, it's not like you'll never hear a joke. If you came one night and came on another night, well, you might hear some things repeated for sure. But they're sort of generated by what's going on in the room.
Yeah, and that's one thing I noticed, because like I said, I got to watch a lot of it, and I was actually, having seen a lot of stand-up, I was shocked at how much of it was new. Like consistently, how many new pieces I constantly saw. Because I don't think that's as normal, you know?
No, and a lot of guys, by the way, do the exact same thing every single night and do it brilliantly.
Right.
People, love it and look forward to hearing the exact same thing again. And so it's not sort of a holier than thou thing. It's, well, for one thing, I have a very bad memory. And so to sort of memorize anything is even like to do those stupid 5-minute things on television. If you do the Tonight Show or something, they want you to do 5 minutes. And memorizing that is sheer agony to me. And it tends to sort of stifle me somehow, so nervous about it.
Right. I have a really big question, very specifically for you. In the creative industry in general, one of the big pieces of advice you always hear about anybody who's like, what do I do to become more successful and to stand out no matter what it is that I'm doing? And one of the tenets that you hear is the adage, be yourself. You just hear that a lot. And yet I think there are a lot of up-and-coming artists who struggle with what the heck that means. Like, be myself, I'm me. But you, I think, very much stand out as somebody who you seem to not only talk about yourself and your life often, you seem to do it in a way that very much reflects how you think and how you deliver. And actually the delivery style, the very kind of random, and I'm going to go here, I'm going to jump here, I'm jump here, it seems to be, have served you extraordinarily well. Is that something that you always knew how to be you, or did you have to learn that in some respects?
A big element of all of what you just said is mental illness. I think I have obsessive compulsive disorder, which, by the way, everyone has. It's only diagnosed based on the degree to which it interrupts your life.
Is that true? Is that a fact?
Yeah, yeah, it is. And it manifests itself in different ways in different people. Yeah. People think of it as the cleaning Jones, or people who won't shake hands because of germs. That's one aspect, and someone may or may not have that part of it. For me, everything that gets said reminds me of something that I feel that I must say. And it can be something that I said that reminds me, or it can be something somebody else said that reminds me. And for the longest time, I didn't know what that was, and so I never shut up. But B, I thought it was just this really awful characteristic in me. And socially, by the way, it is. Nobody likes talking to me. But, or should I say listening? But in terms of stage, I think I finally, when I understood it a little bit, I think I finally just embraced it. And in fact, a big breakthrough was writing the book that I wrote, which is called "There's Nothing in This Book That I Meant to Say." Every chapter is a different historic figure. But every time I go to tell something about that historic figure, I get distracted and I tell whatever thought I'm having. Usually autobiographical. It's usually something about me or something that it reminds me of. And so every chapter is, in fact, a authentic, albeit brief, biography of this historic figure. But most of the book's about me.
Right.
And I finally just decided to make that, a good part of me.
Yeah.
A fun part of me, instead of a part that was somehow burdensome. And I think it's improved my life on stage a lot.
Yeah, on stage. You're specifying that?
My personal life is doomed.
Tell me about Rhonda Puckett. You're the woman who is a incredible cook, as well as she's also has a good friend who's a photographer. She
has a show called Cooking with Rhonda, and it's a show for the beginning cook, the cook with no experience, the cook who fears that they won't be able to prepare the frozen lean cuisines. And Rhonda takes them through it step by step.
She's a giver. She's a giver.
She is. She's a giver, and she makes no pretense. That's the great thing about Rhonda. One of the things, mostly I hate stupid computers, but I must say that one of my guilty pleasures, I do enjoy thinking of a silly, stupid idea and filming it and putting it up.
You're traveling mostly on weekends, right? In addition to the monthly NPR, wait, don't tell me.
The format of the show allows for what we were talking about earlier, which is spontaneity. The host of the show, for people who don't know, it's a weekly news quiz show on NPR. And the host of the show, Peter Sagal, he obviously has a script so that he can ask the questions and then tell the answers, explain the news stories and things. So he has a script, but the panelists are totally unscripted. And it's a blast. It's like, I think it's like being a batter in a batting cage. You just get lobbed these topics. And, sometimes I just watch it go by, but sometimes I get a little piece of it.
Imagine like this moon-eyed 19-year-old about to go out into the big world of whatever the creative field is and says, Paula, give me 3 amazing pieces of advice of how to be happy in what I do long term.
For me, it's a relationship with the audience. I'll be totally honest with you in a way that I probably shouldn't be. Sometimes I look at other people's careers and I feel like, oh, how come I don't do that? Oh, how come this person's, got this thing, or they have that thing, they have this show, or they, every time I do that, I have to remind myself to sort of put my eye back on the ball and be in my own game, whatever that is. I'm not responsible for what job I get hired doing, or for, I'm only responsible for the work that I do. You know what I mean? Making sure that the work that I do is as good as I can make it, and that, and that I'm in relationship with that audience, and they are my main focus.
Actually, that's funny too, because basically there were 2 things there. The one was that when you look at everybody else, it kind of drains your energy from what you're giving when you're in your element, right? Like if you're saying I could maybe do that or maybe do this, it takes away from what you're providing when you put all your energy here.
I think it does. Yeah. I think it does. And I suppose it's like any other practice in life. You're only, it's like when you get upset with somebody else and blah, 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 you only got control of yourself. It's just that the other thing is that if I never had anything more than what I get right now in terms of, in terms of work, I remain the luckiest comic in the entire world because I've been working, 32 years at this job. And because I absolutely love the audiences that I work with. And this silly, stupid internet computery thing that came along has in fact given me additional connection to those people that I really, really enjoy. I mean, the first time I ever saw Twitter, I thought it was the most egocentric, stupid thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I still think that. It's just that I enjoy it very much.
I do too. You said one of your children was locked out somewhere and you had to go rescue her.
I do. She's pet sitting right now for a cat that won't let her in.
Okay. Well, tell us. I know we can go to paulapoundstone.com and
paulapoundstone.com. Yeah.
And Twitter. You're Paula Poundstone.
I am Paula Poundstone on Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know who thought of that, but it's genius.
Yeah. And then Facebook or anything else? Any other ways that you'd want people to connect?
I'm on Facebook. I do all that goofy stuff. It's amazing that one has time for anything else, actually.
Thank you so much for making us laugh, Paula. Join us next time as we sit down with Doug Gordon, recently awarded the UN's Photography Leadership Council Award. While you're waiting for that, though, go ahead and just take your DSLR and strap it to your leg. That's right, the B-Grip Evo Camera Belt Grip makes it possible to carry a heavy camera from your waist. Forget about being dragged down by those very average neck straps. The B-Grip has a comfortable belt that's secure and easy to use. Be the quickest on the draw, too, with its easy release base plate. You can find the B-Grip on Adorama.com.